Good morning. You're watching Visionary Aging. I'm gerontologist Mary Winters, the owner of About Senior Solutions. And get your coffee or your tea. I always have tea. I'm so grateful that you're here with us this morning. And I'm excited to be able to celebrate the holidays with you and with family. You can see a lot of my Christmas gifts that we're getting ready to wrap in the back of the room here. But the reason we do this program is because we want you to be empowered with resources for not just your care, but your finances, making sure that you have the power to make decisions with legal authorities for the people who matter to you. We want to make sure that everything is in your control. And if we don't plan things out, like we plan weddings, we plan vacations, we plan the holidays, um, we will fail at what we really desire for ourselves as we age. So we want you to put a life plan together. And so hence we have these resources. We have some great people on the program. We're going to have a really neat lineup for next year for you. We have Dr. Wallace, who is out of the Beach Cities district. He's a concierge doctor, and we'll talk a lot about what concierge doctors do and how they specialize in the specialty of you. And we have some new segments coming on board. In any event, I am going to go ahead and start a caregiver question with Steve McCullough. So let me go ahead and bring in his intro. Hold on. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Mary. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing good. Ready for the holidays?
I kind of am. I'm not wrapped. I don't have anything wrapped.
Your tree looks beautiful.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It was a lot of fun to decorate, and I don't know. I love it. My sisters and I are all born in December. My mom always had this huge tree. She was periodically in the newspaper because she would have these fabulous decorations that she often hand painted and decorated. So it's pretty cool. But yeah. So what is our caregiver question today?
We have a great question today. It comes from one of our viewers, and she asked, how do I help my mom use technology so that we can communicate better?
That's a loaded question, but a great question, actually. It really depends on the ability of the senior. And so I think if they are able to grasp new technology with some instruction, we have set things up with some minimal instruction, like a Facebook portal, and all they have to do is just touch it. Sometimes to start it. Sometimes calling in advance and scheduling something or saying, hey, mom, get ready because we're doing such and such is great. I think in fairness, they often need fair warning so that if you're going to FaceTime or Zoom, Zoom might be a little more complicated as far as getting things set up. But there are people who train in providing this service. And quite frankly, you could probably get a young neighbor kid to set you up too. But I think Facebook portal is really easy. If someone has an iPhone and can use an iPhone, that's really easy. Skype is actually making a comeback and one of the top tools for older adults. So that's also a great way to connect with family. And they have the TV portal, and then they have the desktop portal. There's also Alexa. So you can talk with somebody, you can drop in, do something called drop in, and they have a few other programs with
Drop-off location.
Now she heard me. She's talking to me.
Right on cue.
Through Alexa and Amazon. So there's some really neat tools. And you could call our office, 626-359-0108, and we'd be happy to direct you to some people who formally do that kind of training. And but it's a great question. And I think seasons, they are a national organization taking questions. They send some of these questions to us as well, which is really neat. So I'd like to acknowledge our partnership with them and some of the published answers that we've provided for them for the year too. So it's been really nice to work with them.
Excellent.
So what else is going on? Let's see. I don't think Melinda's on with us yet. And we have our dear Courtney is off for vacation right now, who plans our guests, and she'll be back next week. So we'll have the fabulous Dr. Wallace on with us. And let's talk a little bit about some of the best question maybe that you've had this year that you were really impressed with. I'm going to go to a quick commercial, and then when we come back, we can talk a little bit more about what you thought the best question was this year. Okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right. So I love that little commercial that we just did, and we have a life enhancement program that we also offer with About Senior Solutions, and we'll specifically be looking at the goals that you want to generate for yourself and the little things that you want to move forward because you want to do it, not because we're trying to create it for you. And so we are extremely motivated and excited to see so many people who have been isolated. In fact, it broke my heart because my son is getting married next year in Pennsylvania. And my mom said, I've just been getting so used to being by myself, and I'm just not sure if I'm up for the travel. And I'm going to give it some time and not force it. But honestly, I think we've become a society of feeling comfortable being isolated, and we're not meant to be isolated people. We were designed as human beings to be social and to interact. And all the research will indicate that social isolation is the equivalent to having 15 cigarettes a day in regards to how healthy that is for us. So please, if anything, I'd love to urge that you all reach out, make your phone calls, see what you can do to connect with others. If you have COVID, or it doesn't matter if you have COVID or the flu or any other little illness right now, I hope that you will get past that. But when you do, please reach out, make sure you're connecting, meeting face-to-face, and doing some really wonderful, you're having some wonderful interactions with the people you care about or somebody you want to get to know.
Well, and even before COVID, just our society as a whole, we are doing more online stuff, right?
Right.
With all the delivery services that are offered to us, the Amazons, the Grubhubs,
right.
People are using those services more. So they're not going out to a store to shop. They're just going onto their computer and ordering something online. And that takes away that whole social interaction aspect of those tasks.
Right? Absolutely. Yeah, it's true. Even when we used to stand in lines and you kind of, hey, I stood next to this fella in line. He actually knew my brother from grammar school or something. I hope that we're not exploring those kinds of opportunities or relationships any longer. So put your phone in your pocket and talk to somebody. It'd be great. So going back to, what was your most poignant question that you were able to present this last year, this 2022?
That's a good question, because we've had some really great questions presented to us. I think the one, I'm going to modify it a little bit, but we had one recently too, and it was about someone's mom who had been isolated, and the person was worried about their dental care. And I would just expand that onto, their mom's isolated and you're just worried in general, like on not just dental care, medical care. Are they taking their medications? Do they have their medications? How is their house? Are they keeping up their house? Is there food in their fridge? And for me, it just resonates because of my family situation right now.
Right.
So with my dad, we're always worried about how he's doing it alone. If we don't get him to answer the phone in a couple hours, my brother's on the phone to me, I'm on the phone to my brother, trying to figure out, most of the time we talk to dad, is he okay? Did he fall and he can't get to the phone? So just those isolation type questions.
Yeah, and it's challenging, and I think we may have talked in the past too about technology that may support some of those concerns. We have things like Life Alert, Philips Life Alert, and other programs where you do have to be connected to it in the way that it's a wearable device. And I personally only like the devices that do have a fall detection feature in them, because people fall all the time and they're not able to communicate, or because of the fall, and it doesn't activate what they need to accomplish to get the support. So I highly recommend that people have the fall detection and some kind of a life alert kind of a button. There are also other devices and things like Alexa. You can, she's probably going to say something now.
You
I
just
don't know
activated
that,
it.
she's saying.
Oh.
You can drop in on somebody and they can respond to you. So maybe they have fallen. It depends on how many of the devices you want to put throughout the house, that sort of thing. And if your loved one feels comfortable, there are also sensors that we can put in rooms and doors. And that way you can see on a panel where they are moving or where they've been, and that they are still maintaining their regular pattern. They just haven't reached out to you, or they didn't hear the phone ring, or they took the phone off the hook, or the cat dropped the phone off the hook. So there are a variety of different sensors and different things. And then more invasive, and something that seniors are typically not as willing to have, but have been really helpful, like I have one in a kitchen for a client, is a camera. And it's really nice because we don't worry about her. It waves, so to speak, to say, hey, she's in the kitchen. So it's like, oh, I know that she's in the kitchen. And let's make sure that she doesn't forget to turn off the stove. Or she likes to, we have a sensor on her refrigerator. So, but she opens it a lot. So we're able to look in the kitchen and say, is she eating anything? Is she forgetting to eat? Does she not have enough food in the refrigerator? Which we're checking all the time anyway. But just like you and I, she just opens the refrigerator probably and says, I want to eat something. I don't see anything I want to eat. So then she shuts
Nothing
it again.
strikes me.
Yeah, but we want to make sure that she does get some things out to make that meal. So it's been really helpful in understanding some of her patterns, and some of the changes that are happening in her patterns, and making sure that that she is creating some kind of a meal. Because oftentimes when somebody does have some cognitive deficits, I call it one-step meals or one-step food. And I think a lot of single people do that. I wind up doing this where I don't care. I'm not going to make a whole meal for myself. So I might just stick some celery in a jar of peanut butter. But some people are incapable with cognitive declines to actually put the steps to make a sandwich together, or put the steps to heat the food and set it on a plate to eat it, or understand that something needs to be cooked thoroughly. I had somebody who was just going to eat raw meat out of a package, and obviously we knew that there was a problem there, and they were going to need more assistance. So lots of indicators to help support us with whether somebody needs help or they can stay independent. That's the other thing. We've been able to leave some of our seniors in their 90s much more independent with some technology versus, just forcing some additional care, which is quite costly, especially in California now. We're looking at, maybe you can find $32 an hour, but it's closer to $36 to $40 an hour now for care with licensed agencies. So something that not everyone can afford, that's for sure. So I think we have our birthday girl today that I want to celebrate, and then Melinda's on with us too. So let's go ahead and I'll see you back towards the end, and we'll see what happened this day in history.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Okay, let's find our birthday girl here and celebrate her. I know she's from Florida, but here we go. All right. So let's see here. Got a little technical difficulty here with my ear. How are you this morning?
I'm good. Happy
Great.
holidays to everyone.
Yes, yes, yes. So are you busy at the strength shop with everybody trying to get their workouts in before their Christmas meals?
Yeah, and shifting schedules around because
Okay.
people are traveling. So it's a lot of like,
Oh,
oh,
true.
they're coming in on this day instead of this day. And so, yeah, it's sometimes can be crazy during the holidays, but we love
That's
it.
fun. Yeah,
We get
that's
to see
great.
everybody. It's a celebration at the end of the year. So,
It is. It is. So what kind of tip do you have for us today?
well, because it's the end of the year, most people are feeling a little stressed out. So I thought I'd give you 3 tips to reduce stress. It's
Nice.
important to reduce stress because stress depletes our vitamins and minerals. So
Mm,
if we're not eating nutrient dense foods, which sometimes we do not around the holidays, we're not going to have the nutrients in the bloodstream for when the stress depletes depletes the vitamins and nutrients out of our body. So if we don't have those nutrients in the bloodstream because we're not eating at our healthiest, that's when stress starts to deplete our body's tissues, our muscles, our bones, our organs of
yeah.
vitamins and minerals. So, if we're not eating at our best, then it becomes really important to reduce our stress. And we can do that by being physically active. So, going on a walk, the proverbial blowing off some steam,
Yeah, there you
doing
go.
anything to get yourself moving and kind of get that stress energy out of your body. You can do it by sitting and being still, either through journaling or meditation,
Mm,
laying and listening to music, anything that may calm your nervous system.
nice.
Yeah, and then I did have a third one, and now it's like completely escaping my mind.
It's probably hydrating or let's see.
Oh,
What else could it be? Now you
now
got
I
it.
remember what it was. I had to jog my memory. It's connecting with others. And sometimes that is easy during the holidays, but
Uh-huh.
here's the little trick. Sometimes our dynamics with people can be challenging.
Yeah.
And if you have challenging dynamics and you're not communicating to those people, clearly communicating your boundaries and
Yes.
standing up for what you need in a situation, that can be intensely stressful.
Hmm.
So just clearly communicating boundaries and needs to others during this time while you're visiting and things like that can really reduce stress levels. And then of course drinking water and eating as healthy as you can during this time given all the celebrations and things like that.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me though to be social and to connect because if we're with people who fill us, who enrich us, and who have a
Mhm.
positive attitude, and we can stay on that same wavelength with them, it really does uplift us. And I think our mind can only think about one thing at a time. And if we're sharing something positive and happy, it is so helpful. But yes, you're right. We have some really challenging family scenarios. I have a daily, I don't know if I would call it devotion, but Melody Beattie is a fabulous writer in regards to just daily readings, and really more for that adult child of an alcoholic or someone who deals with a lot of interesting personalities in their
Mhm.
life. And so I would say, I'm trying to think the name of her book because I just really recommend it. Letting Go.
Oh.
Look that up and you might find something really helpful. It is based on the 12 steps with AA. Alcoholics Anonymous. You do not have to have an alcoholic in your life to really benefit from this, but I think you'll see, it is a challenging time, and some of these interesting personalities or how our families place us back into these old roles that we thought we got out
Mhm.
of as, grown-ups, but we kind of go back to that, she got the pony and all those interesting things back at the holidays. So enrich yourself with something to meditate or relax with, and I highly recommend that. So
Yeah,
great tip.
what I love to explain to people is our body makes our boundaries. So if we're
Mm,
I think sometimes in trying to be polite or play nice or get along for the holidays, people kind of compromise themselves a little too much, and that creates a lot of internal stress and anxiety. So sometimes just knowing how to diplomatically, very eloquently, I guess, express what those boundaries are for you or what you need. But it's difficult because most people want to make those boundaries with their mind, or they feel that anxiety, they feel something that's not right in their body because your body makes your boundaries, and they don't want to cause a problem, or their mind kind of says, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal, so don't say anything. We kind of try to get ourselves out of that. And I think it's much easier to not have those things build up, or, it's much better, healthier to not have those things build up in your body, to be able to honor what you need, but in a diplomatic way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
everyone should check out that book.
I love it. Yeah, Letting Go. It really is awesome. She's written several other things. Hazelton and Betty Ford merged together not too long ago, and they have some really wonderful resources. We'll bring some of those, maybe we'll bring some of those authors and some of those people on, because they are super, super helpful. How about we bring Steve back on, and we'll see what this day in history is, and we'll also talk about the perk.
Good morning. Good morning, Melinda.
And company. Are here. Good morning, Stephen. How's it going?
Good. I love how your dog loves the camera.
I know. She's not shy. She's a camera hog.
That's great. That's great. So what happened this day in history, Steve?
So this day in history is, if you're a football fan, you've heard the phrase, or you've heard the play, The Immaculate Reception.
Oh, yeah.
This happened today in 1972. It was a playoff game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Oakland Raiders. And it was one of the Steelers' first playoff games in many years. For many years, they were a downtrodden franchise. And with a little time left in the game, the Steelers were down. Terry Bradshaw was their quarterback. He threw a pass downfield, and the pass was deflected. The Raiders all thought that the play was over, that the ball had hit the ground, and they had won the game, and they were ready to move on to the next round of the playoffs. Franco Harris, who was a running back for the Steelers, they had just drafted him out of Penn State. He was still never gave up on a play. He was still running downfield, and the ball ricocheted off the Raider defender. Harris picks up the ball and runs it into the end zone. And if you look at the video replays from the game, you see a lot of the Raider players are just standing there, not moving at all, because they think the game's over. For years, for decades, to this day, there's been debate on whether or not that ball actually hit the ground when it was deflected by the Raider defender, or if Harris picked it up before it hit the ground. And Harris mentioned at one point, he was asked about this his whole career, and he said he would never tell what he thought happened to the ball, if it hit the ground or not. He said that, that's just between him and the ball, basically.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So that ignited the Steelers' runs. They lost the next game that year in the playoffs, but then subsequently they went on to win 4 Super Bowls within 10 years. They won back-to-back Super Bowls 2 years for 2 years, and were one of the dominant franchises of that decade, and kind of propelled them into the dominant franchise that they were for many years. Franco Harris actually just passed away recently. And he was supposed to be, his number was going to be retired by the franchise, I believe, this weekend.
Okay. It's a big day in history. Yeah, absolutely.
He ended up passing away a couple of days ago. So we will never know what really happened. And this is before the modern game. You have cameras all over the place at every angle. You have a replay official, so any controversial call, any scoring play is reviewable. And back then you had a few cameras here and there, and there's no replay, there's no questioning a call on the field, and there's just no coverage, there's no video of that play and what actually happened. But the Raider players are convinced that ball hit the ground. the play was over and they should have won that game, and just didn't happen that way.
Oh, it's forever lodged in people's memories.
Absolutely.
I remember a friend of mine, her father and uncle were in the Olympic, or the trials for the Olympics, and it's like a little quarter of an inch, and they would replay that issue and said, if we had done this, or blah 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 blah, how did so their whole lives. So that is something that I'm sure the larger community will.
If you fly into Pittsburgh Airport, and when I go back to Ohio, that's typically where I fly into, there's a huge statue of Franco Harris and him picking up a ball just before it hits the ground. And that's what greets you at the Pittsburgh Airport. So
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Very interesting. That's a great fact.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. We have the perk. So let me find that and see what day it is today. It's Festivus Day. Remember in Seinfeld how they had Festivus?
That is the best.
Kind of a little odd day, actually, because it's also the day that's recognized for Vincent van Gogh cutting his ear off in France. But let's see, what's the pun today? I know a lot of jokes about bad pole vaulters, but none of them seem to go over very well. Oh, that's pretty bad. So my son was a pole vaulter. He actually broke the 1964 pole vaulting record at Monrovia High School, and I think he still holds that record from the early 2000s. So
how did that pique his interest?
He was a wrestler at a previous school, and when he decided, I think I want to try track, the coach looked at him. He had very strong upper body, and he was fast. And the coach just said, "You're a pole vaulter here." He said, "Okay." So it was a great coach who saw what he thought could be some talent. And the rest is history. But yeah, that kid used to, he used to pole vault 17 feet and had some great training. I think he broke a pole, and he did work as a pole vaulter after he broke the pole, and it's pretty dangerous thinking you're 17. These guys are 24 feet up in the air. I'm not sure how high they're getting now, but crazy stuff to think that you're not going to land on that pad and you're up that high up in the air. So I think he put the pole down, decided, I think I'll do something that's a little less dangerous. So he's a sheriff now. Much less dangerous. So yeah, if you are interested in the perk, please reach out to our office. Ginny will make sure that you get on the email distribution list with hundreds of other people. Just call us at 626-359-0108 and we'll get you on there. And Linda, how do we get a hold of you at the Strength Shop?
You can text or call 626-999-4850. And we're happy to get you in and introduce you to slow strength training. It's that time where everybody, next week everybody's gonna be like, ooh, what do we do for the New Year's?
Yeah, exactly. So we're working with all of our clients on their specific shape up item that they may want to work on. So just a little baby step in one of each of in one of these categories: spiritual community, healthy life balance, attitude and influencers, physical activity, eating habits, united family, doesn't mean blood relatives, and purpose. And so if one of these in particular is something our clients are really looking toward enhancing, we will start taking some of those steps. So definitely, if you're looking in your shape up to have that physical activity, it's not a huge commitment. So if you're looking for just something little to start and make yourself feel better, definitely reach out to Melinda. And, Stephen and I both go to the Strength Shop. And I think the thing that is, for me, that I really love, it's not super time consuming, but when all the gyms closed down during COVID, it was a one-to-one gym with nobody else there, which was fantastic. And I could tell the difference in my strength, and I could tell the difference in my balancing when I had that long period of time where I wasn't lifting weight and going into a regular gym. So grateful to be able to work out with you.
Yeah,
Highly recommended.
balance is strength and flexibility. So when you work on both strength and flexibility, you're working on flexibility when you're moving through that full range of motion. And that really improves balance. It's one of the biggest things people talk about is they'll step off a curb wrong and they'll be able to catch themselves and they'll say like, oh, I knew I wouldn't have been able to do that if it weren't for my strength. Like I felt my muscles catch me. So that's
Exactly.
great.
Exactly.
What were you going to say, Steve? I'm sorry.
Just to echo what Mary was saying, I highly recommend visiting Melinda at her shop. She has great trainers that work with her. And it is, the commitment, the fact that it is a half an hour, if you can't find a half an hour out of your week, then there's other questions you need to be answering. But it's a great workout. Like I'm always amazed at how drained I am when I leave your shop. I mean, it's definitely, you definitely get worked out.
You know what? You can actually email me because Melinda gave me a couple of free sessions. So if you want to email me at Mary, Mary, at About Senior Solutions and S at the end of solutions.com, Mary at About Senior Solutions, I will get one of those over to you. And
nice.
Yeah. So it's fun. You have great coaches, great environment, really wonderful. So anyway, any great plans? Are you going to be with family? What's happening for Christmas with everyone?
Yeah, we get the kids on Christmas Eve. So we'll have them for the whole week and hopefully be doing some fun things, maybe going to see a movie. Yeah, just spending time. They get presents. So a lot of their attention goes to
their gifts.
Their loot.
Nice. I have my dad. I'm picking my dad up today. So I have him for a couple of days and then he goes up to see my brother for Christmas Day.
Nice. Wonderful. Well, I'll see family as well. And we'll be not traveling. We'll be nearby visiting lots of people. So nobody's isolated. And I wish you all a very Merry Christmas or finishing of Hanukkah or any other holiday like Festivus that you might celebrate. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a great Christmas. Thank you.